Hey guys, welcome to video number 39. This video is on solving one-step equations. Now, it is the second video in the algebra section. I've already mentioned the key terms of terms, expressions, formula, identities, and equations. This one is about equations. So equations are things that we can solve. And when you solve an equation, you are finding the value of the letter, whatever that letter might be. To solve a one-step equation, you need to think of the equation as having two sides, a left side and a right side. The aim is to get the letter on one side and a number on the other. You will have then solved it if you've done that. To do this, we add, subtract, multiply, divide, and you should always be thinking of what you need to do to undo what's already been done to x. And let's do the same thing to both sides in order to solve. That's the golden rule. So let's look at question number 1. And in question number 1, we've got x plus 5 is equal to 12. If we put our two sides in, we're putting lines down either side of the equal symbol. Let's think about what we'd need to do to undo this. Now, I'm sure you're looking at this going, actually, I already know the answer to this question. If we got into the good practice of doing it this way, we'll be able to answer much harder questions later on down the line. So the opposite thing to adding 5 to x would be to minus 5. So I'm going to minus 5 from both sides, and I will get my answer, because x is now on this side on its own. All right, x is just one x there, and we write these curly x's. Okay, I can't do that on the computer, I am sorry, but I will do it with my writing. So try and get these curly x's going on. 12 minus 5 is 7, so our first answer is x equals 7. Okay, let's get rid of that working, and we'll do the second question. And you've probably already looked at that and gone, I know what the answer is. And again, let's just do it this way, just to show you how you can answer all of these questions. So minus 11 is the thing we're looking at here. Let's undo that, take away 11 by adding 11 to this side and adding 11 to this side. If you do that, you're left with 1y is equal to 14. Okay, so y equals 14 in B. And again, let's get rid of that working so I can squeeze in the working for the third question, C. This time we've got 3z equals 24. A little bit different. Now, I didn't quite explain in the last video, but if a number is next to a letter, it means that that number is being multiplied by that letter. Okay, so the opposite thing to multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So that's what we'll do to get rid of the multiplied by 3 bit. Let's divide that side by 3 as well, because that's the golden rule. And then you've got 1z is equal to 8. Z equals 8, because 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay, and that's how you do those one-steppers. And I'm sure you probably already knew what the answers were before I did them. Now, number 2, we've got some slightly awkward looking questions. When you see fractions in things, it can look a bit scary. But we've got x over 3 equals 15 in this question here. So x over 3 equals 15. Almost give the answer away then. Now, what we are going to do is think about what the opposite thing of dividing by 3 is. Now, the opposite thing to dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3. So we will multiply both sides by 3. And then that leaves us with x on its own, and that leaves us with 45, which is what I almost said at the beginning of that question. So x equals 45, and there you go. Done. Get rid of the working, show you the next one. Now this one, it looks slightly different because you've got half of x, or half an x, is equal to 8. Okay, so let's pop the sides, one side, two sides into the equation, left side, right side, and think about that this means half multiplied by x. Now, if you want to get rid of a half that's been multiplied by x, you're going to divide by a half. Okay, or you can divide by a half. All right. If you divide by a half, it's actually the same as multiplying by 2. It's a nice, useful little trick. If you divide by a third, it's the same as multiplying by 3. Divide by a fourth or a quarter, it's the same as multiplying by 4. So if we are looking to do this, dividing by a half, we're getting x on its own here, because that's now gone from in front of the letter, and we're just multiplying 8 by 2. This gives us 16. Okay. Now, it's not the only way to look at that question. You could look at it and go, I've got 1x over 2. Right, and do it the same as this one. Ignore that 1, you've got x over 2. Multiply both sides by 2 and you've got 16. anyway, so x would equal 16 that way. But I thought I'd just show you that and give you the little trick there that you can use when you are dividing by fractions. And I'm going to move myself over. And we're going to look at question number 3. Now, the equation 8x equals 56 has a solution of x equals 7. And if we were going to solve that, that's what we would get. Because you divide both sides by 8, you get x equals 7. I've got to write down 2 more equations with the same solution for x. The simple way that you could do this is start with x equals 7. Okay, and then decide to do anything to x and anything to 7, but it has to be the same thing that you do. So if you multiply both sides by 2, you get 2x equals 14. That's the most simple thing that you could do, and that would be an equation you could write down that would have a solution of x equals 7. And why not, let's just do x equals 7 and then just add 5 to it. I think we had that one earlier actually, didn't we? X plus 5 is x plus 5 and 7 plus 5 is 12. So we're just working the whole thing backwards, which is a much easier thing to do. 7 plus 5 would equal 12. So you can always check your answer to make sure that you've got it correct. So I'm going to put x plus 5 equals 12 is an equation that you could use. There are an infinite number of equations that you could use, because you could use any numbers, you could use any operation as well. So, thank you for watching this one. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Click the link in the description section below for resources to use. The whole number section has been completed now, and there will be loads of stuff going on in the algebra section as well. Yeah, cheers, and I'll see you in the next one.